Thing is good, we still talk about the on in DM,
Yeah.
so it's all good. But yeah, like I said last week, it's kind of different. Normally it was always Monday, Tuesday, and it's closer to the fights, and now it's only Sunday. But yeah, I kind of like it. We are pretty much a few hours, let's say 10 hours after the card, so it's still fresh. And it makes sense to do it like this. So I really like it, and I'm looking forward to talk about this card, and an hour later about Long Island. So yeah,
Yeah, so as always, we're starting last month or so. We're doing the two podcasts back to back here on Sunday morning. So the first one will be UFC Vegas 58 recap, talk about everything that happened last night. And then we'll be previewing UFC on ABC3, aka UFC Long Island. That's the Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez card. But we're going to start with UFC Vegas 58 here, Marcel. A lot to talk about in this card, too. I've seen a lot of criticism in the card. I know you didn't love the card last night. I thought it was decent, to be honest with you. There were some good fights, but there was a couple snoozers that I think, especially because it started a little bit later, definitely affected people's perception of the card. So just give me your overall thoughts on it before we get into all the fights.
I would give him a 5.5, 6 out of 10. So that's
fair.
my.
That's fair. Yeah, I think personally, Marcel, I think it was a little better than what you're saying, but it wasn't the best card, obviously. Anyways, let's get into it. We'll start with let's get some comments first. What's up, George? He's saying, "Good morning, gentlemen. Happy to chop up to you guys Sunday. You too, buddy." John's talking about Fiziev. He's asking who's going to be fight next. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, so let's get into this card. Main event of the evening: Rafael Fiziev knocks out Rafael dos Anjos. Marcel crazy 5th round knockout. Did not expect that. I think we both picked Fiziev to win the fight. I did think he was up 3-1 going into the 5th round. Some people had a 2-2. One of the judges had 2-2. It was competitive. It was not a blowout by any means. I think that the odds were right about 2-1. The odds were bang on for this fight. But Fiziev gets the job done in the 5th round. The fact that he took the judges out of the equation is very impressive to me, Marcel. The other fact is, and I talked about this last week, Dos Anjos had not been knocked down since he fought Jeremy Stevens, Marcel, in his debut in 2008. He did get knocked out by Eddie Alvarez, but that was a standing TKO. It was not like a knockdown where he got dropped. This is the first time he's been dropped in 14 years. That's fucking impressive to me. I knew Fiziev was good. I think he's really good now, obviously. This is a huge win. I just think, Marcel, the fact he carried the power into the 5th round is very, very impressive to me. Because, honestly, at that point, he was up 3-1 on 2 of the scorecards. He just needed to win the round. But the fact he caught Dos Anjos that huge punch and Mark Smith went and stopped the fight. And by the way, initially I thought it was an early stoppage, but after seeing the replay and then seeing what Dos Anjos said, he didn't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with it. Although initially at first I did think it was early. Overall, though, just an incredible knockout by Fiziev. Gets a performance of the night bonus. He'll be ranked in the top 10. Obviously, he'll probably take the number 7 spot. Can't wait to see what's next for him. We'll talk about what's next for him in a second, but just give me your overall thoughts on the fight and the performance by Fiziev here.
I think Fiziev did perfect. I think the first 3 rounds, they pretty much stopped all takedowns from Rafael dos Anjos. Was better on the feet. The 4th round, dos Anjos finally got the takedown going. You saw Fiziev got a little bit more tired, I think. But the 5th round, he came out and he knocked him down, and then he finished it. I also thought it was kind of an early stoppage, but I also had no issues with it. And definitely, listen, if Rafael dos Anjos says I don't have an issue with it, why would I have an issue with it? So, yeah, good win for Fiziev. I think he has looked amazing since his Mustafayev lost in his debut. After that, he has looked really good, improving every time, now going 5 rounds. I thought the Rafael Nadal call out was funny after the fight. He called out Hasbulla before, so he's a guy who has this weird kind of call outs after the fight. But yeah, it was a good win for Fiziev, and yeah, I mean, not many people can finish Dos Anjos, so it's a really good win. I think should give him. I expect him to get Dos Anjos place, so that would be 7, right? So somebody above him would make a lot of sense, and. Man, you see these guys in lightweight. You saw before with Armen Sarukian against Gamrot. You saw with Ismagulov, Kutatelats. Those guys are climbing, And man, new wave of lightweights, and I feel like these are as good as the current wave. You know what I mean? So it can only get better.
I love Fiziev, man. Not only is he a great fighter, I think he's fucking hilarious. I love all his interviews. He's so funny. This is hilarious too. I'll take Nadal minus 1,000 on Clay. So. I saw his post I interviewed. He goes, "Oh, they're like, oh, you want to fight Rafael Nadal?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "So we'll do like a mixed rules fight." So the first 4 rounds could be tennis, and then the 5th round will do MMA. I'll knock him out. That was so funny. I love the guy Marcel. He's such a great fighter. This is Marcel. Winning a decision over RDA is good, but knocking him out, that really elevates him. Here's the thing. Okay, so last night I said they should do Darius because he's the next guy above him. He's number 6, right? It just makes sense. A lot of people were saying Gaethje. Here's the thing with Gaethje. He's got a broken nose or something right now. He's having nose surgery. I don't know how long he'll be out from that. I don't think that's something you stay out for like a long time from, but probably a few more months. Go ahead.
Fiziev has a broken nose as well, right? He
also broke his nose. So they're both we also have busted noses. Fiziev, the first time he's broken his nose, he said in his whole martial arts career, which is crazy. So here's the thing. Like, I don't know when those guys' timetables come back, but here's the thing, Marcel. I think at this point, I'm okay with Darius, although Dana White did say he likes the Gamrot Darius fight, which is a great fight too. Mm-hmm. But honestly, Marcel, more than I think about it, maybe they should just give him like Dustin Poirier or something and just be like, you're going to get a chance to fight the number 1 contender. And if you knock him out, you get a title shot. Because I think beating RDA is so big. You know, I really do, Marcel. It's just like beating him by knockout is huge. So any of those guys make sense to me. I know that Poirier and Chandler are talking shit now. They want to fight each other maybe. But Chandler might end up fighting Makhachev if Oliveira fights Conor. There's a lot of moving parts. I think a lot of it hedges on what Oliveira does because obviously he should be fighting for the belt, Marcel, but he might take that money fight, which would change up the rest of the division. So it doesn't matter to me. Anyone in those top 5 is fine with me for Fiziev. Go ahead.
The division is officially broken, dude, if Oliveira gets a money fight and not fights for a title, dude.
Listen,
so
I agree
really
with
against
Marcel.
that.
I agree with you saying, but Marcel, he has the most finishes in UFC. He's got some of the most fights, I think, in UFC history. If anyone deserves a big payday, it is Charles Oliveira. He's been in the UFC for 12 years.
Yeah,
he fights more often than anyone.
I don't have to see that against Conor, dude. It's a sport. It's not a spectacle, you know?
Yeah, I agree, but he's the one calling for it, Marcel. He wants that fight. So
yeah, and they shouldn't give it to him. If he fights for a title, he shouldn't give it to him.
I agree with you, Marcel, but they've set the precedent that guys can call for these money fights. So we'll see what happens, Marcel. I think that it should be Oliveira and Makhachev for the vacant title, which really should be Oliveira's belt. And then you could do some other fights. But if they don't do that, Marcel, I'm just saying it really opens up the division. Quite frankly, they need to get Conor out of that rankings. They need to get Dan Hooker out of the rankings. And, you know, Ferguson, I guess, can hang in there because he's been active at least. But those other guys need to get out of the rankings, Marcel. You know what I mean? I think Conor's really holding up the division.
Let's put it this way, dude. If Oliveira fights Conor and it's not for a title, I'll never want to see him fighting for a title again.
Yeah. Well,
that's how I feel about it.
His last fight either.
That's how I feel about it.
Says the comments. Fiziev starting to grow on me. Killer in the octagon, funny, outgoing personality, respectable outside the octagon. Fucking love this guy. I love him. You're right, George. Great personality. He's so funny. And I think they said he's the first fighter from Azerbaijan. I thought he was from Kazakhstan, but
he changed up. He was born in Kyrgyzstan. He then I think he how do you say that?
Grew up.
No, he represented Azerbaijan, and then he represented Kazakhstan, or the other way around, you know.
Right.
So there are like pretty much 3 countries.
Yeah. He's great. I was gonna say, so he won another bonus. 5 straight fights where he's won a bonus. The fight where he lost to Mustafaev, he won a bonus. So all of those fights in the UFC, Marcel, have except for the Alex White fight.
Right.
Yeah, they've all been bonus fights. And also that Mustafaev fight, I still remember that knockout really well. The guy did a spinning back kick. He had his guard up, and he knocked him out through his guard. That was just an impressive kick. And that guy needs to get back to the octagon because he's really talented. And I think Ismagulov had the bad weight cut when they were supposed to fight last year, and that guy ended up not fighting. So he's really good. What's up, Steve? How's it going, man? Glad to have you here, bud. Yeah, Nadal doesn't want to go back to the rankings, so Fiziev matchup unlikely, sadly. I know, right? Well, Nadal just pulled out of his Wimbledon matchup with knee injury, I want to say, or something. So
yeah, he had something in the stomach injury.
Stomach. Okay, that's what it is. I don't watch enough tennis to know. What's up, Grateful dude? Good to see RDA. Dude, they're both respectful. I mean, Marcel, RDA 100% Hall of Famer, right? 100%.
For me, yes, yeah.
Oh, and for me, it's not even close. 100%. The guy's had such a good. I know he lost his fight, but like the career he's had, Marcel, after he lost to Stevens in his knockout in his debut, I never thought he would have this career. I thought he sucked, Marcel, at the beginning of his career because he lost 3 of his first 4 fights. They kept him around, and he turned his career around.
For me, actually, it kind of turned around when he stopped George Soderopoulos. Remember?
Yeah, that was a big win, dude.
Big back then was.
Dude, George Soderopoulos. I know we're talking about 12 years ago, but he was really good, Marcel. I saw him fight Joe Lozon, and I want to say he submitted Joe Lozon in Detroit. That was the first card I went to in person. So he was good, and then he lost
Dennis Seaver.
Yeah, Dennis Seaver stopped that train.
I was so surprised, dude. I remember that because I was like, why they match him with Dennis Seaver? He should get an higher.
Yeah.
And then he lost to Dennis Seaver. And after that, it was really like...
The matchmakers are good here, man. What's up, Beercha? How's it going, buddy? Glad to have you here, man. Our friend here. Kyrix, first time catching live. Got up early for the tennis match. Love your show, guys. Hey, man, really appreciate that. Thanks so much, dude. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think Djokovic is playing right now, right? I think,
against Kyrgios. Yeah.
What's the score? Did it start yet? It started, right?
I don't know, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. It's Kyrgios won the first set, so it's...
oh, wow.
And look, and Djokovic is winning the second. I don't watch a ton of tennis, but obviously this is a massive event. I mean, it's the Wimbledon final, so it's huge. RDA's consistent conditioning, professionalism, highly contendable. The guy always shows up on weight. He always shows up to fight. Marcel, if you're talking about money fights, maybe an RDA should fight Conor. I mean, he's the guy who's been in the UFC even longer than Oliveira.
I like that.
Yeah, I like the fight too. And honestly, I think, RDA would probably... A few years ago, Marcel, I mean, Conor was favored, I think, the first time they fought, but I think RDA might be favored now, right? Like, I would imagine, right? Wouldn't he? So, it makes sense. It makes more sense than Oliveira, although, again, Oliveira is the one, guys. He wants that fight. I just saw the articles. Diego Lima talked the AG fight. He's like, we want this money fight. Charles deserves the money fight. We want to get him paid. I don't blame them, Marcel. Like, they have such a short shelf life in MMA. I mean, how many more years does Oliveira have left? I know he's young, but he's been in the sport forever, so... Maybe they're like, let's get a huge payday and then, start winding down. I don't know. I really don't know, Marcel. All right, let's go to the rest of the fights here. Co-main event. Fight was terrible. This fight was really bad, guys. And, well, let me get this comment first. He's talking about the stoppage. It was fine after. Same here. At first, though, I thought it was early. I got to be honest. When I first saw it, I was like, why did he stop it? I'm like, what's going on? But then you see the replay. He got, first off, that I think, was it a left hook, I want to say? I think that was what it was. The punch that knocked him down, is that what it was?
I was watching X6. Yeah,
I can't remember anymore, but let me double check. But yeah, I want to say it was. Let me check right now. But whatever it was a massive punch that really rocked him bad. It was left hook. Yeah, I was right.
He knocked him down, and then
the punch on the ground ended it. So stoppage was fine. Okay, co-main event. Absolutely terrible fight. Caio Borralho defeats Armen Petrosyan. Listen, he did what he needed to do. He took down a better striker and beat him on the ground. But like Marcel, he landed 12 significant strikes in 15 minutes. He landed less than one strike per minute in the fight. That's terrible for a winner. I can't remember a guy winning a decision that landed less strikes before. Like, it might be a record. I could be
probably
wrong.
Damian Maia.
Let me check. I got to see if Maia did land, because like even Maia was like working in his fights. I got to check though, Marcel. Let's see if Maia's won a decision where he landed less strikes. You know what, Marcel? Good call. 3 strikes landed against Anthony Rocco Martin. He won the majority decision in that fight. That's so funny. Good call, Marcel. But otherwise, he was in the 20. Okay, and he landed 12 against John Fitch too. That was another fight. So, but Marcel, I mean, that's all I can think about. I can't think of anyone else, to be honest with you. Like, landing basically 12 strikes is terrible. I think Borralho is really good, guys. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The guy's got great wrestling, and I like his personality too, Marcel. I do. Like, I think he's really good. This was just a bad fight. It's just a terrible fight. Just give me your thoughts quickly. I think we should go through this one quick because it was such a shit fight. Terrible fight.
I think Caio is a smart fighter. He said in an interview with a colleague of mine, like, the fight starts standing, and I can win standing against him as well, but I'm not stupid. He's like... Yeah. His ground game is like not even 20% of my ground game, So if it goes to the ground, I'm sure I'll be winning there. And he didn't went for a finish, or he tried, but I don't really feel like he was very how do you say that? Really wanted to stop the fight. He was just winning the fight, and he was okay with it. Yeah. Listen, sometimes you have these fights, and I'm not gonna judge Borralho for it, because I think in his other fights he was very entertaining so far in the UFC and series. So one bad if it comes to performance, and going to for a finish and how it looked, but still he clearly won the fight. So but the thing was, like, I think Armen landed more significant strikes because of the leg kicks when he was on the ground, But still, I think Borralho won the fight. It's okay.
I like Caio, but it was a bad fight by him. Let's just be honest. Does he get a top 15 opponent next, do you think? Do you think maybe he could fight someone like Brad Tavares?
He asked for Dricus du Plessis.
He won't get that fight. He's not getting that fight.
And I also don't think he gets a top 15 one, to be really honest.
I think he could get Tavares, Marcel. I think they could do that fight,
But Tavares is 15 right now.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They could do that. The other option I saw some people talking about was the winner of Rodriguez and Jaquani. Because
It's
of
also
the
possible.
MMA math with Petrosyan
Petrosyan for Rodriguez.
So maybe they could do that fight, possibly. I don't think he gets the Duplessis fight, though. There's no chance in my opinion, you know? John says he looked good. It was a boring fight. It should have been more eventful. I thought it was going to be more eventful. Fluffy Hernandez or Phil Haas next. Those fights make sense, too, to be honest with you. Yeah, he's definitely a good fighter. I just think that this is not the kind of fight that will elevate him forward. You know what I mean? He won't get a top – I don't think he'll get a top 50 point, but again, Tavares is the one guy that he could fight because I think that's an interesting matchup, to be honest with you. Caio's coached by Maya. Caio's last co-main for a while. Oh, wow, good call. So the two guys that landed the least strikes and wins, Marcel. But the thing with Maya is he was always looking for chokes. You know what I mean? Like this guy was not really trying to finish the fight, which is disappointing. You know,
Maya never wanted to strike. He clearly said that always. He always looked for the submission.
Except for when he fought Anderson Silva, then he wanted to strike for some reason.
Yeah.
Word Marcellus thing he's looking for is urgent. Yeah, urgency. Okay, let's get to the next fight here. Said Nurmagomedov defeats Douglas Silva the Andrade, unanimous decision. Really good fight, Marcel. I thought this fight was great personally. The Silva the Andrade, man. I mean, for a guy who's 37 years old, he's still really good. You know, Marcel, like he's very competitive in his fights. I did take Nurmagomedov by decision. It was plus 250, so it was a good prop to take here. I thought that the fight would go long because the guy's so durable and he's hard to stop, and exactly what happened. But Nurmagomedov just too fast, Marcel. Too fast, too elusive, and the striking was just beyond worldly, I think, in the first two rounds. Third round, you know, a little different, kind of a weird round there, to be honest with you. But he obviously won the fight. Scorecard 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. I thought it was 2-1. I know you thought 3-0. But either way, Marcel, he got the job done. And, you know, Marcel, he's not ranked right now, but he's 5-1 now in the UFC. And I think he's got to be close to being in the top 15 at this point, you know? So, again, you know, there's guys like Frankie Edgar in the top 15. I don't really think Frankie's even that active anymore. I mean, I know he just lost to Farah and it was a competitive fight, but like, you know what I mean, Marcel? They got to clear out the top 15 in this division because there's too many guys now that are just really, really good, like Nurmagomedov, this Nurmagomedov. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight the other Nurmagomedov, to be honest with you, Marcel. I think it's crazy as it sounds. It makes sense. I mean, it's 15 versus the next guy probably. I think this Nurmagomedov is probably the 16th ranked guy. So that fight makes sense. But either way, Marcel gets the job done. Great fight, I thought. Give me your thoughts on it.
Dude, that Silva Andrade shredded as fuck, dude. Yeah. The thing is, for me, was like Nurmagomedov was just a little bit quicker everywhere, in my opinion. Yeah. I think many people gave, I don't know which round you gave to Douglas, but I think many people gave him the second round based on the knockdown. There wasn't a knockdown, you know?
Yeah.
He touched him, and then he was out of balance, and he followed him up to the ground, but there was no knockdown in that second round. I gave all three to Nurmagomedov. It was competitive. Don't get me wrong, you know. And Nurmagomedov was spoiling those spinning back elbows, which always get him like off balance. You know what I mean? It wasn't the smart thing to do like 10 times in a row, for example. But he won. I think it was a good win for him, and was one, in my opinion, one of the better fights on the card. So
yeah, I thought it was a great fight. I think both guys are really, really good, man. Honestly, like I said, even though this guy's 37, man, Andrade is still super competitive in his fights. Like even the fight with Peter Yan, they had to I think the corner had to stop that fight. Like this guy kept wanting to fight. So the Deontay Murphy fight was close. He's a good fighter, but Nurmagomedov very, very good, Marcel. Obviously,
yeah.
Perfect text for Nurmagomedov. A great performance. He was great. Really good fight. Andrade is a handful. He's tough as fuck, man. He learned so much in that fight. They're knocking out a guy in 30 seconds. I agree. It's probably good for his development that he actually went the distance. What's up, Antoine? How's it going, man? Our weekend's going well. I hope yours is going well too, my man. Let's get to the next fight here, Marcel. We have. Oh, by the way, I was going to mention how good is Raoni Barcelos though. He's the one guy that beat Said in the UFC, and no one talks about him now because he lost a couple of fights. But I mean, he's still good, I think, too. All right, next fight. Maybe the surprise of the night here, Marcel. Chase Sherman knocking out Jared Vanderaa. Not only did he knock him out, Marcel, I thought he looked pretty good in this fight. I got to be honest with you. I got to give Chase some credit here because we all clowned on the guy. He's coming off the fight with Romanov, where he's the biggest underdog in UFC history. He had a 3-9 record coming in this fight. He looked good in this fight, man. His head movement was so good in this fight, like surprisingly good, and outstruck Vanderaa. One judge had it 2-0. The other two had it 1-1 with the rounds flipped too. I had it 2-0 for Sherman, although it was definitely a competitive fight, but I know two of the judges had it 1-1, so he really did need to finish because honestly, Marcel, up until that point of the knockout, he was probably losing the round and might have lost a split decision. So he needed to go for it. He got the job done. He wins a bonus. I'm happy for Chase. I think he really deserved this bonus, Marcel. After everyone laughed at the guy after the last fight, Marcel, they said he sucked. He's the worst heavyweight in the UFC. He's terrible. I mean, listen, I thought he was the worst heavyweight on the roster too. I'm not going to lie. I really did. But now we know he's not. Vandera probably is, to be honest with you. Or maybe, I guess, Tafa, because he's the guy that Vandera beat. But the point is, Marcel, I was impressed by his performance. I actually thought he looked good. We got to give this guy some credit. He looked good in this fight. He looked better. I'm not saying he's a contender. He's obviously not. He's not going to win too many fights in the UFC, I don't think. But got to give the guy credit for this one fight. That knockout sequence, Marcel, was fucking insane. That was crazy how many punches he landed on Vandera. And by the way, how good is Vandera's chin? The guy's so tough, but eventually just cracked Marcel. And also, once again, Marcel, bad fight IQ by Jared Vandera. He could have tried for a takedown to win the fight in the ground. Instead, stood and traded and lost. So just give me your thoughts on the fight, because honestly, I was impressed by Sherman in this fight.
It was a good win by Sherman, but I stay with my opinion. Doesn't belong in the UFC both, and both don't belong on the main card. You know, it was a good win. You know, first round he did very well with the striking, I think. Jared Vandera had not a lot to give back. Second round, Vandera came back, in my opinion. Could go 2-0. Sherman, I had a 1-1 going into the third round, and it looked like Vandera was getting the better of him in the third round until Chase started landing and knocked him out pretty much. So, yeah, it's a good win for Sherman. Still, I don't think both guys belong in the UFC, but that's my opinion. Definitely not on the main card.
It was a good fight, though, Marcel. Honestly, like, I was shitting on the main card placement too. This fight was really good. Let's be honest, Marcel.
I don't think it was good.
Really? I think it was the second best fight in the card.
No, it's low level heavyweight. Doesn't belong on the main card, dude.
Listen, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I didn't think it did either, but I think after watching the fight, it was a good fight, Marcel. Like, were we watching a different fight? It was just a pretty good fight, man.
It was a fight between two guys who should fight another organization, then it would maybe be an okay fight. But I think Sherman... Listen, man, Sherman did well. He got the win. He got the knockout. I think he deserves the performance of the night bonus. So I have no problem with it. But they really should stop putting those heavyweights on the main card, man, with non-ranked heavyweights. Because it's hit or miss. And for you, it was hit, in your opinion. For me, it's still miss, you know. But it was at least a finish, you know.
George says the UFC's putting heavyweights in the main card hoping for this. I agree with George. I mean, listen, like that Alan Badeau fight with Petrosyan, I thought that fight was going to be bad. It ended up being an interesting fight, too, with that crazy comeback, right? They're actually kind of... I think they're getting lucky with these fights, I'll be honest with you, Marcel, with the matchmaking, because on paper they don't look very good. But I think both fights played out okay the last couple of weeks. That's just my opinion on this one. A fight that I thought would be good that ended up being a complete shit fight. Amin Zahabi, Ricky Turcios, the next fight here, Marcel. This was supposed to be in the prelims. We didn't talk about Calvillo. Nunes got scratched. Nunes got sick. That fight's been rescheduled to the UFC San Diego next month, by the way. And this fight got elevated to the main card. I think this was the worst fight in the card, Marcel. This fight was terrible. Turcios, look at these stats. He landed 11% of his significant strikes, Marcel. 27 out of 235. The guy was hitting air all night. The hobby, meanwhile, 51%, landed 54 and 105. I think the judging was also pretty bad in this fight, because had Turcios won the third round, he would have won the fight, which is scary because I thought he lost the first two rounds. And this is someone who I bet on him. You guys know I liked him in this fight. This was the worst bet I made in the card, obviously. I made some really good bets in this card. This was the worst one. I don't think the fight was that competitive, Marcel. I think Zahabi won clearly, and I think he probably won all three rounds, to be honest with you. So give me your thoughts on this one, because I think the fight was terrible.
He clearly won 3 rounds, man. Which round are you going to give to Ricky Turcios? I mean, I don't get it. I think everybody scored at 30-27 except for the judges. Yeah, I was really, really displeased with how Ricky Turcios looked in the fight. You know, I think he was more busy with hyping the audience, talking a lot, you know, and he was like punching air 9 out of 10 times, you know. And Zahabi, he fought smart, waiting for Turcios to come in, countering, at least touching him, you know, and winning the rounds, in my opinion. So for Zahabi, it's a good win. You know, I think he deserved the win. And for Turcios, yeah, man, I think that was one of his worst performances I've seen so far. So, yeah, I'm not looking forward, but I'm curious what's next for him. And then for Zahabi, yeah, he will probably get the better opponent next time. Yeah.
Yeah. Tough night for the tough alums. Yeah, it's interesting. They're both in the card, the guys from last season. We'll talk about the other fight in a sec. Turcios was terrified against striking range. He has no future in the UFC. He looked awful in this fight. He just looked bad. I mean, maybe Zahabi's better than what we thought, Marcel, but I still don't think he's that good either. I'm just being honest. Like, he had a good game plan, though. Tercios won 30-27 over the air. Yeah, he was punching the air all night. What's up, A-Loco? How's it going, man? Yeah, I thought Tercios win too, though, to be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of advantages he had on paper, but just didn't play out that way, you know?
Yeah,
I gotta be honest, Marcel, a lot of these fights in this card did not play out the way that we thought, you know?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was also on Tercios, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. And like a lot of us, I don't really know too many people are picking as a hobby, but obviously he won the fight clearly. It wasn't even close. Tough as to produce good competition a long time. I think Juan Espino won. He's pretty good, but he's old too, right? So
you know, I think that kind of watered down after the Contender Series, you know,
yeah, no,
because
for
most,
sure, 100%.
Most real talent are on the Contender Series, and pretty much the guys who, I don't want to say second tier, but the guys who are not on the Contender Series, the most of them go to Tough, you know?
Yeah.
And you see that. Yeah,
and I'm watching Tough right now. I'm watching the season. There's just 2 weeks left. There's a couple of good prospects. We'll talk about that card. I think that's going to take place on August 6th, the finals for that.
Yeah.
There's some couple of good prospects on that season. Like Juliana Miller's not a bad prospect. Eduardo Perez in the heavyweight division is not bad. Zach Puaga, he's not bad either. So there's a few prospects, but again, they're not like UFC level yet, I don't think. So I know what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. All right, let's get to the last fight here in the main card. Jamie Mullarkey defeats Michael Johnson by split decision. I just think it was a bad decision by the judges, man. I don't know if I want to call it a robbery because it was a competitive fight, but I think they fucked up here, Marcel. I just think it's bad. Like, you look at MMADecisions.com, most media members, not only did they have it for Johnson, but I looked at the fan vote, and like 75% of fans had it for Johnson too. I just think it was the wrong call. And again, remember last week I said, guys, I'm like, I'm really struggling with this fight. I'm going to go with Mullarkey. And I ended up taking him, and I have a pool where you have to pick someone. There's like 40 guys in the pool, over 30. I think everyone except for 2 guys had Mullarkey by knockout. Me and one other guy had him by decision. So I thought this would how the fight would play out with him, like winning a very competitive fight. But I just don't think he deserved to win. I think that Johnson won the fight. The first round was close, but Johnson's the one credited with the knockdown. He's the one who had Mullarkey hurt more. I know Mullarkey had him hurt at the end of the round, but Johnson's the one who actually dropped him. Second round, obviously Mullarkey won. Third round, Johnson obviously won. So to me, it's 2-1 Johnson. I think it's a bad call by the judges. I'm glad they won fight of the night, Marcel, but I hope the UFC pays Johnson's win bonus because he deserves it. I think he got jobbed here, Marcel. I really do. Bad call by the judges. Give me your thoughts, man.
Yeah, man, I think it was a competitive fight. The first round, I think Johnson did very well. He even knocked Mullarkey down, then he went for a submission. That didn't really work out. After that, Mullarkey tagged him, but didn't knock him down because Johnson went for a takedown there to recoup. I still think Johnson won that first round. You know, second round, clear Mullarkey win. You know, in the second round, I think he outlanded him and he landed more damage to me. You know, so 10-9 Mullarkey. I saw a media member saying it was a 10-8 round. He should eat
no
shit.
way.
He should eat shit. What an idiot. And then the third round, I think Johnson landed the more significant strikes, you know, the more significant damage. I feel like Mullarkey was coming forward, but Michael Johnson landed better, you know. So for me, it was a 29-28 for Michael Johnson. You know, I think he got hosed again. First, he got hosed of a performance bonus last time out against Alan Patrick.
Yep.
Now he gets hosed by the judges. You know, one judge had it correct, Michael Bell, again, as always.
Guy's a great judge, man.
Yes, and these other 2 idiots gave it to Mullarkey. Yeah, I feel like it was a bad decision. You know, I don't want to say robbery because you can't say robbery if Mullarkey did well as well, in my opinion, but just the wrong winner here, you know. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I agree completely. I mean, there's some fights where it's like obviously a complete robbery. This is a competitive fight, but the wrong guy won. Because I think a good judge at this level should know that Johnson did more damage. He was the more effective striker, won the fight. I really don't think it was that hard to score, Marcel, to be honest with you. Like, I'm kind of surprised that it was a split for Mullarkey. I think it's a bad call. One of the judges, Anthony Manis, this guy, I don't think is a good judge really lately anyways. Like, he's the guy who had Jeff Molina beating Nurmagomedov 30-27, guys. He's also the guy that the Jung Young Park fight. He gave Anders the third round in that fight. Marcel, remember? So this guy's clueless. Like, he shouldn't probably not be judging fights at this level or should be retrained. Again, Marcel, these judges get off. They what are they going to say to them? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing will change.
You have these weird ass judges' apologies on Twitter, man, which bothering me a lot lately, you know, and still bothers me, you know. Those people who are also like, oh yeah, I know more about you about judging than others. Like, shut the fuck up. You know who you are. You know, it's idiots. Like, I mean, it's like, oh, let's keep it. Let's keep you guys keep the fun out of it. Listen, dude, if the guy who should win doesn't win, the fun is out of it for me. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yep.
So, and another thing, how can I enjoy it when one guy gets half his paycheck because he got fucked by the judges? You
That's
know
the
what I mean?
problem. That's what hurts. That's what hurts me the most. I mean, listen, as bettors, like we'll get it back. We all know that they go. You end up getting them back. It balances out in the end for the most part.
Mhm.
Although it still feels like sometimes I'm on the wrong line, more splits than not. But Marcel, this was one of the ones where, like, again, like I took Malarkey here, and I
I
didn't
know.
think he won the fight. I'm just being honest. Like sometimes you got to be honest and be like, the guy didn't win and you got lucky. So bad call by the judges, guys. Terrible call, I think, to be honest with you. Bad decision. Steve says caused more damage. Sweet Time says just like me, he had Malarkey, but Johnson won. I agree. Johnson might not have lost either way. I mean, yeah. The best chance. According to the judges, he even lost that first round, so he didn't really have a chance at all. Max Strickland got his win bonus. He lost to Alves and Magny. Did he get one for Magny too? That's interesting. That was a close fight, obviously. Malarkey and Medic. That would be a good fight. That would be a very good fight. Malarkey's a fun guy to watch, Marcel. Always stand up wars. He's a good fighter. He's fun to watch. But again, I don't think he won this fight. And just sucks for Johnson, Marcel, because had he won, he could make a little run at age 36. But Marcel, on paper now, he's lost 5 of his last 6. And now he might be fighting for his job in his next fight. You know what I mean? So that's the problem. Like you're hurting guys' careers, you're hurting their livelihoods. The 50,000, I'm sure, helps him a little bit, but my guess is, Marcel, that he makes like probably 100 and 100. He's been in the UFC for 12 years, I think, right?
Yes.
So he probably makes 100 and 100. They probably cost him $100,000. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. That's my guess. Is that a reasonable guess? Would you say?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's like a super talented guy, and he was a guy who beat Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier, in the when do you say that, in the past. So it's like, yeah, maybe it cost him even money. Those 50K extra is cool for fight of the night. But if he has a contract, like you say, like let's say he got 110 plus 110, it's possible, right?
Absolutely.
Then it still cost him 60K. You know what I mean? So
he's had 25 fights in the UFC, so I'm sure he's on a good deal.
Yeah.
Next fight, Cody Brundage. Good call here, Marcel, knocking out Trishan Gore. Wow. I mean, that was impressive. Cody Brundage, Marcel, he's still really new to the sport. He's only been fighting for 3 years. It's crazy. Gore has been fighting since 2018 as a pro. Brundage to 2019. So we saw pretty clearly who the better prospect is. I mean, this guy has looked good in a lot. I mean, not great, but he's won his last 2 fights. He somehow found a way to win, and that's what's impressive to me about Cody Brundage. He's finding a way to dig deep and win. The guy is pretty talented. This was a nice knockout. I think he could have got a bonus too, Marcel. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't give out extra bonuses, Marcel, to be honest with you, because I think that he deserved one for sure. We know his daughter's she's got like a rare disease. He's married to Amanda Cooper. She used to fight in the UFC, by the way. They both have 2 wins in the UFC now, so that's kind of interesting. The wife and husband. I really like this guy. He's really grown on me too. Really enjoyed listening to his interviews. Very insightful guy. Trains in a good camp. Obviously, Factory X. And again, Marcel, just 3 years in the sport, and now he's got 2 wins in the UFC. So Cody Brundage, good wrestler, now showing some improving striking. Last fight showed the submissions. This was a nice win for him, Marcel. But I think for Gore, Marcel, wow, 2 straight losses now and 4-2 record. Although I think it's 3-2. I don't know where they're getting this extra win from.
I know, but
I don't. Is it the 3-round fight on Tough? Is that
the semifinal?
Yeah, I don't know why they count that. Anyways, Marcel, do you think he gets cut, Gore?
I don't know, man. It depends on how much the UFC likes him, probably. That's pretty much it. Let's talk about the fight. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I picked Brundage because I thought that he could wrestle him, probably. Not because he could knock him out. Know, and he punched him hard and he went down and he immediately got into full mount. And he punched him out. So great win for Cody Brundage. After that come from behind win last time against Delcha.
Yeah.
Right. Where he got the bonus. I actually think he deserved the bonus the last night. He didn't, but good win for him. 2 wins in a row. And let's be honest, that short notice fight against Nick Maximov, he won that 3rd round back then, remember, against Maximov. So he's looking good in the UFC. Looking forward to what's next for him.
Man, I remember when he fought William Knight, contender, Marcel got destroyed. I'm like, man, this guy is not good at all, but he's really turned it around. And again, he's young in the sport. So impressive, Marcel, I think. He's done a good job. Card stock, no extra bonuses. You know, Marcel thought the same thing. I thought the card was decent, though. That's my thoughts on it. I did research on Gore. He fought my ex-girlfriend's brother to get to top. Really? Who's that? Who's that guy? If you don't mind me asking. I think Gore should get cut to gain more experience elsewhere. Yeah, you know, Marcel, I think it might be best for him, honestly, for his development if he does get cut and he goes to a smaller organization, because I don't think he's ready for the UFC, honestly. But
I agree with you.
But they might give him one more fight. Is there a middleweight that's terrible that he could beat potentially?
Let me think.
Maybe if Dalcha loses, they could do that fight. If he loses to Soriano, maybe.
Which is very possible. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just trying to see. Like, let me go. I'm gonna pull up the list of fighters. I just want to see if there's someone that's because right now Gore might be the worst middleweight, right? Like he's got to be, right? No offense to him, but maybe the Omar Godziev guy got destroyed by Caio. Maybe they could do that one.
Gilbert Urbina, or isn't he?
Is he on the roster still? Like,
I'm
not sure. I was thinking about that. I guess technically he is. They could do the rematch. Is that a rematch? I think it is, right? Because they fought tough, right? Yeah, Marcel. I mean, it's not impressive. Like, it's just, or maybe like AJ Dobson. He also looked bad in his debut. Kopylov, the loser of that with, I don't know, Marcel. We're getting really to the bottom end of the roster.
Carl Robertson.
Yeah, I don't think they'll keep him around, though.
I don't think so.
I think he's gone. All right, let's go to the next fight here.
I have a good one for you.
Oh, go ahead.
Fabio Sharon. Oh, is he 205?
No, he's cut. He's cut too.
He's 205. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. They're both not UFC caliber. All right, next fight. Anthony Shevchenko defeats Courtney Casey's decision. Oh, man. I mean, I just don't think it's the right call again. I think it was the wrong call. Like, Marcel, it's about damage, right? And Anthony was the one who went in the hospital after the fight, not Courtney. First round, listen, it was competitive, but like Courtney was working on the ground, throwing elbows off her back. She landed a huge punch in the feet. Anthony was just laying these like side kicks, and Valentina was screaming her name from the side. Obviously, she won the second round. The third round, clearly Casey won. I thought Casey won the first and third round. Again, I'm not going to say this is like a massive robbery because it was close enough where there's margin for error from the judges, but I just think it was the wrong call. And as soon as I heard Adelaide Bird, Marcel, I knew that she lost the fight. So Junikicho Kamijo, he's a pretty good judge, actually. I think he's one of the better ones, to be honest with you. He had it for Casey. I thought she won. Marcel, give me your thoughts, because I thought she won 2-1. What do you think?
Yeah, I had also 2-1. But the thing is, like, first of all, can we please tape up Valentina Shevchenko's mouth when she is in Antonina's corner? It's super annoying. I mean, Courtney did very well in the third round. I think that was the most clear round. Second round, most clear round for Antonina. First round, kind of 50-50. I still favor Courtney in it, but I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't a great fight at all. And for me, it wasn't as important enough to get really annoyed about. You know what I mean? Because I know it was for you, but for me, it wasn't. So yeah, it was kind of like what I expected. Probably a split decision.
And so, by the way, I saw the stat. MMA Decisions posted this. She's tied for the most split decision losses in UFC history now. She has 4 split decision losses. Yeah, she's tied with Angela Hill, Jorge Masvidal, and there's someone else too. But she's only won one. She won one split decision against Angela Hill. Yeah. So she's 1-4 in split decisions in the UFC. You would think that she would have won like 1 or 2 of those fights, right? Like
1-5, right?
Is it 1-5? I think it's 1. Is it 1-5? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 1-4. I just checked. So it splits. Obviously, she's lost some unanimous decisions too. But yeah, I mean, do you think they cut her, Marcel? Like, she's still competitive. So
yeah, I don't know. It's it's women's MMA, and remember Ashley Yoder. I also expected, no disrespect to her, but I expected her to be cut, and they gave her another win,
Is she still on the roster?
I think she is. Yeah.
They could do that fight, right? Could they do that fight? Or it's
why not? It's not fly, right?
Is Yoder a flyweight now? I can't remember.
No, Casey is a flyweight.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And Yoder's a strawweight, so I don't think they could do that unless she moves up.
She has 5 split decisions, dude. I'm just checking it.
She's 1-4 in them, and she won one of them. She beat.
That's what. Sorry,
that's okay,
language barrier.
No worries. No worries. All right, let's go to the next fight here. A couple of other ones left here. David Onama defeats Gary Armfield. I mean, he was the biggest favorite in the card. No surprise here. Armfield looked pretty good in the first round, so I think he probably won the first round, honestly. But Onama obviously better conditioning here, and he took the fight with a full camp compared to Armfield's short notice. I think Armfield's decent. I mean, record's 8-3. It's not great, but I think he's a good prospect. But Onama got the job done, Marcel, and it's another win for this guy, and very talented fighter, obviously. And Just sucks that Austin Lingo pulled out because that was a more competitive fight. But I know you're a big fan of David Onama as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a rematch, right, from when they were amateurs. First round, super competitive, I think. Still went with Onama slightly, but was competitive. Second round, Onama got the finish. Beautiful arm triangle choke. Armfield didn't tap. 1 out. A good win, but he was supposed to win that fight. You know what I mean? He should have won that fight. He defeated that dude in the amateurs. I know he's a Kill Cliff FC guy, but still. He should win this fight, and although it's actually funny because the UFC told Onama, like, we don't have a replacement for you on Tuesday, I think. So and on Wednesday or Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, he got told, like, yeah, we got somebody for you. So then they had to book Vegas and all because they didn't expect it anymore. But still, I think he showed up and he got the finish, good finish. And like I said, if you get a guy outside the UFC you beat already once with a decision, it's a short notice fight. He makes his debut. Only thing you can do is finish the guy, and he did that. So very good one.
Yeah, I think most people thought he would knock him out. So the fact he got the submission, actually, I think it was like plus 500. So if you bet on that, it was a very sharp read, obviously, because I think most people thought he would knock him out. Onama by minus 200 at the first is a great line because I think he was like minus 900 at close. 2 fights left here. Kenny Nchekwu defeats Carl Robertson by third round TKO. I mean, this was looking like he was going to decision. And honestly, Marcel, I'm thinking, like, why is this guy not landing ground and pound? Why is he just going for this choke that he's failing at? Eventually starts landing these nasty elbows, just brutalizes him in the third round. Good win for Kennedy, Marcel. A good, solid fighter in this division. I mean, he's 4-2 now. Like, I know he's not the most talented guy, guys, but, like, he's got heart, man. Sorry, he's 4-3, excuse me. He's got heart, man. And honestly, like, Paul Craig fight, he almost won that fight. He was 40 seconds away from winning, excuse me. And then the Nikolai Negromariano fight probably should have won that decision. So other than the Darren Jung fight, there's no really like dominant losses for this guy in the UFC. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's great because he obviously gets teed off on the feet even in this fight. Robertson landed some nasty kicks, but the ground game looked good. Kennedy, another interesting about this guy, Marcel, I don't know if you know this, but like his mom has ALS, which is a horrible disease, right? Lou Gehrig's disease. He's her full-time caregiver. And I listened to his post-fight interview. He's like, other than like training, I don't do anything. He's like, the only thing I do is spend time with my mom and take care of her. His mom can't talk. She has like that hole in her throat, so she can't speak. She watches his fights. She's his biggest fan. I really like this guy, man. Like, I didn't know that, Marcel, and apparently that's something he's talked about in the past. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So he's got other things going on in his life that are honestly more important than just fighting. You know what I mean? And he's a full-time caregiver of his mom who's sick, like, and training and fighting at the highest level. I recommend going and listen to this guy's post-fight interview. Just such an appreciative guy, so grateful. Just, he's like, I'm so thankful being UFC. It's such a great company to work for. Like, I'm so happy I have a job here with them. Like, this is a guy who came from, obviously, Africa, Marcel. I don't think he had a lot when he came over. And he's made a career for himself. And obviously, Stapes, his coach and his mentor. He's in the right hands at Fortis, Marcel. Mm-hmm. I like this guy, Marcel. He's again, another guy that's really grown on me. And this is a great win for him. So give me your thoughts on Kennedy.
Yeah, man, I think he did a perfect fight. He went with Roberson to the ground. And Roberson ground game is very limited, I still think Roberson should fight at middleweight, not at light heavyweight. There was a huge high difference between the two as well. You see Kennedy was like almost was like 1.5 Roberson, as you see, like bulking and that kind of thing. Just a good win by Kennedy, and I thought it would go to a decision, but at a certain moment he found those elbows, smashing elbows, finished the fight. Good win for Kennedy and Nchekwu, and I'm happy for him, And for Roberson, I think Roberson is done in the UFC. I hope for him they give him another one, but I don't see it happening.
Bro, he's lost 4 straight by stoppage. There's no way. There's just no chance. Like sometimes if a guy like Sam Alvey, at least he's been like I know lately he hasn't looked good, but like, listen, a lot of his fights went to decision. Like the Darren Jung fight was close, right? Like the Wellington Turman fight was close. This guy's getting like destroyed, Marcel. I don't think they give him another fight. I mean, listen, he's got some good wins. He beat Turman, he beat like Kopylov, but he beat Ryan Spann too. But I mean, like, there's just not enough lately. So I think he gets cut. Yeah, ALS is Lou Gehrig's disease, and that's what his mom has, which is just terrible. You guys call this, I still bet Robertson. Should listen to us on this one. Cedric Duambe I think he'll get a call for UFC Paris. I think he got a win yesterday, didn't he, Marcel, or something?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he knocked some guy out, right? Doctor stoppage. All right, last fight here on the card. Sadyokov Kakramanov defeats Ronnie Lawrence. Marcel, I was really close. I thought this was going to be a close fight.
Yeah.
Marcel, this was a complete blowout, and this guy should have been like minus 1,000. 12 minutes of control, 10 takedowns. Now, just beyond impressive. You know, Marcel, and he's been underdog twice in the UFC now, won both fights, Trevin Jones and now Ronnie Lawrence. I know he's not ranked either, Marcel, but to me, he's right there in the top 20. Like, he's got to be. He's very good. Great grappler. Dominated another great grappler. I'm just shocked, Marcel, how dominant this was. Like, Ronnie Lawrence was the guy taking everyone down. Now, this guy does the same thing. So, give me your thoughts on him. And also, is it Ronnie Lawrence? Like, something happened to him in personal life, right? So,
no, he said that he had a staph infection during fight week, and he showed a picture of it. Looked nasty. But still, man, he said it's not a how do you say, not an excuse, you know. And for Sadyokov, dude looks solid, man. You know, I mean, people were like saying on Twitter it's boring, but if you can do that to Lawrence, you know, Lawrence pretty much dominates with his wrestling normally, you know what I mean? And Sadyokov completely dominated him from start to finish. Was really impressed with how he fought, controlled him. Like you said, 10 takedowns. I mean, I didn't saw this coming. You know, I thought it would be a very competitive fight between two great bantamweight prospects. Turned out to be a complete blowout by Sadyokov. So, yeah, solid win for Sadyokov, man.
I want to say, I don't know if am I forgetting something, but like I saw someone say something happened to his mother, and like she died or something. Is that correct with Ronnie Lawrence?
I don't know. I think
I think I read that somewhere. Maybe they said the broadcast, but I missed it though at the beginning of it. So I don't know if I'm wrong there. But I mean, if that happened, then obviously it'll affect you in the fight. If someone else heard that, can you just tweet it or put it in the chat here? Because I saw that someone wrote that on Twitter. I'm like, did they say that? Because I was having a problem getting the fight to start at the beginning. I missed the walkout, so I don't know if they were saying something. Sadyokov got tired of hearing Ronnie's great wrestling. Yeah, me too. I mean, the guy is a great wrestler, but not in this fight, obviously. Trains with Terrence McKinney. It's really good. Thoughts in Turner and Demir finally getting ranked. It's great, and I think they could do that fight. There's no doubt about it. All right, that's it for this UFC Vegas 58 recap, Marcel. Yeah. I mean, overall, obviously, it was not the greatest card, guys, but I don't know. I mean, like, there were some good fights. Is there anything else that you wanted to chat about from this card, Marcel?
Not really, to be honest.
Okay. If you guys have any last questions, we'll take them before we get there, because we're going to start the next podcast in a minute here, where we're going to preview, UFC Vegas. Or no, it's not UFC Vegas. UFC Long Island. Yeah, it's on Vegas. Back to the crowds. Let me just see if there's any more comments. No, we'll just, we'll take it on the next podcast. We'll start it early, if anything. We'll start that one early. Okay, Marcel, really quickly plug yourself for the people just listening to this one.
Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, Eurosport.nl mixed martial arts section.
Awesome. You guys can follow me on Twitter at MMAOB. As you guys know, podcast MMAOB.com. Like, share, subscribe, guys. Always got to tell you that, guys. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. I'm also at bookies.com. Did pretty well with my picks last night, and then MyMMAnews.com for some news. But of course, MMAOB.com for your home for all UFC betting. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Start the next podcast in like a minute. I'll tweet it out, and then obviously stay in the channel, guys. I'll get this last comment because someone asked a question here. Marcel left already. I'll get your question. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning. We mentioned Conor McGregor maybe for RDA. There's a few options you could do. I guess Tony Ferguson makes sense too. They're both older guys coming off losses. Some people are saying maybe he'll retire. I think he'll take another fight though. Any idea why the UFC didn't show the Azerbaijan flag? I think Marcel mentioned this. Did you mention this, Marcel, with the flag?
I don't know why. No idea.
Okay, so you don't know either. Okay, cool. I just want to answer this last question, Marcel. And then one last question, guys. We're going to start the next podcast. Get this. You have an answer for this one? He's asking about Nurmagomedov Avasai.
It's pretty easy, man. If he gets a contract, they only have to pay him $10K or $12K, So.
Right. Okay. All right, we're going to start the next podcast, guys. See you in a minute. Bye.